Alright, so here's this thing. I make videos on bilibili. It's like the Chinese YouTube, basically. And my wife is Japanese. She wants to watch my videos. She wants to read the comments, the danmaku, those flying bullet comments that scroll across the screen. But Bilibili is a China-only platform. There's no built-in translation. Everything is in Chinese. Now, there are some pretty good tools out there. Immersive translation is awesome. You can translate the comment section into pretty much any language. But live danmaku, real-time flying across the screen bullet comments, nobody's built that. Well, maybe someone built that, but I think it was abandoned like a few years ago. So I decided to just build it myself. And here's the thing. This isn't actually my first try. I attempted this like a year or two ago. I had this local script that would fetch all the danmaku from a video and download them. And then I'd code some translation API to translate everything. For a decently popular video, that would be thousands of danmakus. And then I had this third-party video player that could load some custom danmaku. And I'd combine everything together. Well, it worked, technically, but every time I wanted to watch a video, I had to run this whole pipeline. Well, my wife. She has to run this whole pipeline. It took forever and it was just so clunky. She used it maybe twice and then just gave up. Back then, I was also using AI to help me build it, but the AI just wasn't the same. The quality of what it could suggest, the depth of the architecture, the planning, it's just night and day different now. I can't even compare. So this time around, I'm running hermes agent on my local machine and my approach was super simple. I just talked to it, like literally talk to it, voice input. I said, hey, I want to build a bilibili page danmaku auto translate Chrome extension. Is that possible? What tech stack? What questions do you have for me? Give me an implementation plan. That is literally what I said to my AI, because I didn't even know if that extension is possible or not. I don't know nothing about tech stacks, so that was my prompt. But I want to pause on that one line. What questions do you have for me? This is something I've started doing with every project, because most of the time when you gave AI a task, you'll just take your prompt, make a bunch of assumptions and start coding. It won't stop to ask you anything. It just goes, especially when you're using something like an hermes agent. It just goes. But if you explicitly tell it to ask you questions first, it switches mode. It starts thinking about what it doesn't know, the edge cases, the architecture decisions it needs your input on. Well, although I understand nothing about architecture, but still, it makes it thinking. It just becomes way more thorough. I feel like everyone should add this line to their prompt, seriously. Anyway, the agent went off and it did its research, come back with a plan. It explained how Bilibili renders danmaku, what APIs they use, and the whole architecture. There was just one problem. It was wrong. Like the stuff it told me about how Bilibili works internally was just not accurate. And there is the thing. I didn't know it was wrong either. I'm not a Bilibili engineer. I have no idea how they render the danmaku under the hood. So what I did was, I just opened Bilibili in my browser, loaded a video, let the danmaku fly, and then I saved the entire HTML page to a local file. Then I sent that file to my agent and said, this is the actual page. So you analyze this and then update your plan. This is something I've learned from doing a bunch of these projects. Just don't let the AI guess. Don't let it scrape some stale cache data from who knows when. Give it the ground truth, okay? A fresh HTML snapshot of what the page actually looks like right now, because internet changes, okay? And LLMs, most of their knowledge base were stuck a year ago. The agent looked at it and was like, oh, okay, my assumptions were wrong, and it completely scraped the original plan and rebuilt it based on what it actually saw in the file, HTML file I gave it. So the agent gave me this plan, and as I was reading through it, questions just started popping up, like, hold on, is this thing like translating all the danmaku at once? Like every single one? Because if it does, I'm going to be broke after one video. It turns out DeepSeek is so cheap you can actually do that though. So I just asked the agent and the agent was like, no, here's the design. We translate on the fly. Only the ones currently visible on the screen, plus a local cache if you scrub back. It doesn't really translate the same line. These kind of questions you don't naturally know how to ask them the first time. You learn by getting burned. I've been burned plenty. But once you develop that instinct, it saves you so much pain down the road. So after a few rounds of back and forth, I was satisfied and I said, okay, go ahead. Here's my workflow. I use DeepSeek V4 Pro for planning the architecture, the design decisions. Pro writes everything out into a plan. Then I open a brand new window, switch to Flash, and then just say, hey, here's a plan at this path. Go read it and execute. You may be asking why a fresh window? Two reasons. First, DeepSeek V4 Flash is basically free. Pro costs real money. An hermes agent has this thing in its system prompt where it wants to just keep going. It wants to give you the result no matter what. It really doesn't stop. And I don't know if it's a bug or anything. If you switch the model in the same window, it might still use Pro without you realizing it. And suddenly, you've burned 1 billion tokens on something Flash could have done for a pocket change. The second reason is for a cleaner context. Think about it. In that first window, the AI's initial plan was wrong. It told me how bilibili renders danmaku, but it was incorrect. We scripted, but that wrong information is still sitting there in the conversation history. The AI might say it's moving on, but deep in that context window, those incorrect assumptions are still floating around. They can leak back in and influence the next decision. Same thing with bugs. You've been going back and forth trying to fix something for 20 minutes. The context is full of failed attempts, half-baked fixes, wrong directions. That stuff accumulates. It becomes noise. So opening a new window, it's like clearing the cache. You give AI a clean slate, all that baggage is gone. You can look at the problem fresh without the ghost of its wrong answers hanging around. So I highly suggest you open a new window before you execute anything. Or you can also compact it manually, depends on what agent you use. 10 minutes later, I had a working extension, like actually working. I loaded it into a Chrome, open a bilibili video, click the extension, and boom, danmaku starts appearing in your language. Well, in Japanese, I mean, and it's in real time, flying across your screen. It was genuinely usable. Not perfect, but I could use it. My wife could use it. The core problem was actually solved under 10 minutes. Here's the part nobody talks about. That first working version took 10 minutes, and then I spent about 2 hours total on the whole project, which is also very little time, but compared to the first 10 minutes, it was like, what? 10 times the time. But the remaining 1 hour and 15 minutes was all polish. And polish is a trap. You start chasing edge cases, stuff like, oh, what if I start fast forwarding like 5 times in a row? Suddenly, the translation just stops. Why that? And can I make it respond faster? What is the bottleneck now? What can I optimize? And some danmaku are slipping through. Some of them are still in Chinese. How can I catch all of them? Maybe I should add a small delay so the extension catches them before they disappear. Things like that. And you go down this rabbit hole of fixing tiny things, one after another, and sometimes the AI fixes it in one shot. Other times it takes 3, 4, 5 attempts. And you're there thinking, like, just one more try. It's right there. And when you realize it, a full day has passed. So here's my rule now. 3 strikes and I'm out. If you've asked the AI to fix the same issue 3 times and it's still broken, I stop. And then I open a fresh window, switch to a stronger model, summarize the problem clearly, and I would give it the last chance. I learned this the hard way. I was building an auto subtitle workflow once. I spent, I don't know, like billions of tokens in a single DeepSeek V4 Flash conversation trying to fix one bug. Well, thanks God DeepSeek is super cheap, so I wasn't bankrupt, but it never got there. And then I opened a new window, switched to Pro, and asked once again. Only one response later, it points out the root cause and wrote a fix, and it's done. And that's why I said you should just open a new window, clear all the context, and switch models. But here is the thing, even with Pro, sometimes it still doesn't work. You know what I do then? I don't switch to another model. I just don't think it's worth it. I just give up, like immediately. If the stronger model can't crack it in 1 or 2 tries, that feature isn't happening right now. And that's fine because the first version, the 10-minute version, already solved the main problem. Everything else is just nice to have. I think a lot of people get trapped here. They become obsessed with one tiny edge case, spend hours, burn tokens, get frustrated, and for what? A smoother animation on a danmaku that flies across the screen in 3 seconds. Nobody's gonna notice that. And look, I completely get it, because I'm that kind of person too. I've burned way too many tokens on this kind of stuff, and I can't stop, because it's addictive. You fix one thing and then you see the next thing and you're like, just one more. But you have to learn to walk away. You have to be okay with shipping something imperfect, especially when you're building for yourself. Oh, and one more thing about the costs. The entire development for this project, combined with another project I was working on the same day, full day of vibing, cost under a few yuan. It's like less than a cup of coffee. There was literally a day where I burned through over 300 million tokens. You know how much that costs? 10 yuan. That's it. $1.50. But here is what I've realized. There's so many problems out there that don't have off-the-shelf solutions. Your niche problem, my niche problem, they're too small for anyone to build a product around. But now, with AI agents, you can build your own fix in an afternoon for pocket change without knowing how to code. I would argue for niche problems, it's actually faster and cheaper to build your own custom solution than to search for one, compare all the options, evaluate them, install, configure, and hope one of them would actually work. And also, that's why I'm not trying to sell this. I'm not trying to turn this into a business. I built it because I need it. And with AI agents, I can do it. You can do it. I'm an art person. I'm not a programmer, I'm not an engineer. I study arts in college, and I do videos, do photography, and handmade arts, that kind of thing for a living. So if I can do it, you can definitely also do it. And for those polish trap, it's real. But you know what? That is actually my problem. It's not the AI agent problem. Because, the first version that took 10 minutes, it already solved my problem. My wife can watch my bilibili videos and read the danmaku in Japanese already. The rest was just my hobby. I'm addicted. If you like this kind of stuff, a person has no background in programming but still use AI agents daily to automate everything, either for work, for daily tasks, for hobby, anything. If you like to hear more about my personal experience, please subscribe to this channel. And if you have any question, please leave a comment. This channel is brand new, so I literally read every single one. Thank you for watching and see you next time.